Hello everyone, welcome to Veranda IAS. Now students, in today's session, we are going to discuss about the important sources that are actually needed from where you have to study history, from where exactly you have to start your preparation. Now see, the most important thing while you are preparing for UPSC examination is that you have to actually understand the importance of the right sources. See, you know what happens with majority of the students? They start preparing, and like I said, someone says this is the book, you have to go through it completely. But do you really think that one book might be sufficient enough to make all your queries get sorted, or if I say to make you understand the importance of the subject or the importance of the events that you are actually going through, specifically with reference to history? Now students, see, when I'm talking about history, various people might have a different approach or a different attitude to one particular event. Now if you speak about some British scholar, they might say, according to them, and in fact majority of the British scholars in the past, they have actually said this thing. They have always told that the Britishers, they were actually doing nothing but were actually following white man's burden. Now what is white man's burden? Now according to the Europeans, they always felt that it is their responsibility, that they have to actually bring civilization among the people of Asia, among the people of Africa. It was according to them. The Europeans, they always used to say that it is the white man's burden that we are following. And if you go through various British scholars that have actually written about India, the situation of India in the 18th and the 19th century, they have actually mentioned India as the barbaric people. They have mentioned, they haven't spoke anything about the culture, the rich culture that we had. They just said that India was nothing but a land of snake charmers, and the Indian people were barbaric in nature. Barbaric in nature, owing to some of the events that used to take place, like Sati event. Yes, it was a very barbaric event, but just with one event, you cannot say that the entire civilization was barbaric. So people can have different approach towards one particular situation. Similarly, when you are preparing for UPSC, you have to open your mind for all the available ideas. You cannot limit yourself to one particular objective or one particular idea. See, you will be becoming a civil servant, you will be becoming an IAS. An IAS cannot have just one limited approach. You have to open up for all the available ideas, and that's exactly what makes you a brilliant civil servant. So similarly, when I'm talking about the sources from where you have to study, the sources which you have to use in order to complete your preparation, we will be discussing all those important books and the book list that is actually required, or you can say that actually would be helping you in this course or in this particular journey. See, the most important things, the NCERTs, they are going to be your Bible. If anyone says, what is the point of studying NCERT? Why should I study NCERT? I will outrightly start with Bipin Chandra or some other book. Why should I waste my time for NCERT? So see, I have this very important thing. When you are not referring to NCERTs, it simply means that you are making a house without a foundation, without making a base. So when you don't have a base, when you don't have a foundation, what will happen when an earthquake will come? Everything will be destroyed. The NCERTs are nothing but that foundation. Yes, you might feel, in fact, I have heard many people saying, sir, I finished NCERT in 3 days. Achha. Someone will say, sir, I have finished NCERT in 1 week. Okay. See, students, it's not about reading. You don't have to read it. You have to understand it. If it's just about a reading competition, I can finish all these entire NCERT in just one day. So will my objective be fulfilled? No. What exactly I'm trying to say here is that you have to see, you have to set the pattern, you have to actually see the events. NCERT, I'm telling you, yeah, direct questions will not be asked for NCERT. This is something that I know. But all I'm saying is, with reference to a particular event that has happened in the past, it will definitely be mentioned in your NCERTs. So when you have an idea about the event that has happened in the past, people will definitely, when you are going for some other books, some higher level books, so at that particular case, at that particular moment, when you remember the event that you have studied in your NCERTs, it will be very easy for you to actually understand what exactly Bipin Chandra or spectrum they are trying to say. Many people see, this is the biggest problem. If you ask anyone, what was the reason why the revolt of 1857 started? So many people say, sir, there were few reasons. I'll say, okay, name a few. You'll say, sir, Sepoy Mutiny. What was Sepoy Mutiny? The Britishers, or you can say the East India Company, they introduced Enfield rifle. The cartridges, they were supposed to be made from the beef and you can say cow fat. So the people in army, especially it got started with Mangal Pandey at Barakpur. The people refused, the soldiers, they refused to use those cartridges, and ultimately it led to a violent protest. Later on, it spread to Meerut, and from Meerut, the revolt of 1857 became a fight against the East India Company. Okay, taken. What was the reason why Jhansi ki Rani, Rani Lakshmibai, she was introduced? So you will say, sir, Doctrine of Lapse. What was Doctrine of Lapse? If the king did not have a natural son, so the entire administration after the death of the king would be handed over or would come under the command of East India Company. Do you really think only these two are the important reasons? Students, there were many other reasons about which NCERT has given you a gist. This actually makes you, this exactly is the difference between an ordinary test taker and the test taker who actually clears the examination. You must have heard many people saying, or moreover you can say cribbing, I prepared very well, I prepared very hard, but yet I could not succeed. His preparation wasn't that good, and see, he's an IAS. No, he actually followed, he actually started with the basics. And what mistake you did? You outrightly jumped onto. You wanted to be an IAS in one day. He waited patiently for 1 year or 2 years. He waited patiently. He worked upon his basics. So from where actually you can work on your basics? Students, it's the NCERTs. The class 6 NCERT is really very boring. I myself agree to that. Yes, it is really very boring. The class 6 and class 9 NCERT, they are very boring. But do you have any other alternative? No. It was you have decided that yes, I have to prepare for UPSC. So when you have decided, you have to follow the basic list, the basic idea, the basic source. And the source is very simple and very clear. Class 6, class 7, class 8, 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th. NCERTs are a must. They are your Bible. You have to focus, you have to follow. You have to remember each and everything, line by line, word by word. Now, once you are done with, and give time, okay, give time. You will not become IAS in 1 month. Anyone who claims that they can make you an IAS in 1 month, please stop meeting such people. There is a genuine approach that is required to be followed when you are preparing for your UPSC examination. Okay, so once you are done with your NCERTs, then you can come forward for several important books. For example, with reference to ancient India, you can refer a very important book, India's Ancient Past by R.S. Sharma. With reference to medieval India, History of Medieval India by Satish Chandra. You see, Satish Chandra is such an important book that direct questions in the previous years, the questions coming from medieval India. Directly, they have been taken word by word from Satish Chandra. So this good is such amazing. Okay. The third one is Modern India, History of Modern India by Bipin Chandra, and another book is there, A Brief History of Modern India, Spectrum. Now you can choose between either of these two books. Now if you ask my suggestion, so I would suggest that yes, students, you can definitely go for Spectrum. Because Spectrum, what exactly are they doing? Spectrum, they are increasing their content every year. Now, they are not adding the historical events, but what they are doing is they are adding the new questions. For example, the questions that were asked in the year 2020 prelims examination, or the questions that were asked in the mains 2020. What they are doing is they are actually inculcating all those questions along with their answers. Okay, so that the questions that have been asked in the past years, they are not at all a problem for the students. Okay, so if you take my suggestion, I would recommend that you should go for Spectrum. With reference to modern history, I won't say that modern history by Bipin Chandra is bad. It's just that this particular book by Bipin Chandra, it actually is a bit biased. Okay, they are focusing more towards one political party. Okay, so you don't have to go for anyone's agenda. Okay, you have to clear your examination, and that can be done only by reading the right book. So if you take my suggestion, I'll suggest you go for Spectrum. That would be the best thing. The next book is Art and Culture, India Art and Culture by Nitin Singhania. See, again, when you will look at this book, okay, the book will appear deadly to you. But again and again, I'm saying, understand the pattern, understand the syllabus. Okay, you have to understand the pattern. You don't have to go through the entire book. You have to see, you have to actually check the pattern. Once you have understood the pattern, only then you can actually write your answers clearly. You can actually prepare. See, there is not just one subject. There are many subjects. There is polity, there is economy, there is history, there is ethics. There are so many subjects. Your approach has to be like it is result oriented. You have to put in your efforts, but your efforts must be in the very right direction. So when all those efforts are in the right direction, only then you can get an absolute perfect result. Okay, so Art and Culture by Nitin Singhania. Quite a good book, but again, like I said, you have to be quite selective. Your faculties, your tutors will actually tell you what all segments are to be actually taken here. Now, apart from this, with reference to world history, with reference to India after independence, there are various books. For world history, okay, if I'm saying with reference to world history, so the sessions that would be taken, they would be more than sufficient. The sessions that would be taken in the classes, okay, they would be more than sufficient. And as far as India after independence is concerned, you can actually go for Bipin Chandra, quite a nice book. Here in this particular book, India after independence, we would be discussing about all the events that have actually happened after we have got our independence. How actually the states were framed on the basis of the languages, what were the various challenges India had to face, relation between India and China, what was the Panchsheel agreement, what were the 5 years plan, how actually the elections got started in our country, what were the important challenges that India was facing. Was defense a priority for Indian government at that point of time or not? So all these events would be are actually very well covered in India after independence. Now, there is another book that I often refer to my students, and that is From Palasi to Partition. From Palasi to Partition, again, a very good book, and it gives you an in-depth detail. This book is meant for modern India, okay? So if you have completed your spectrum or Bipin Chandra and you want to learn or you want to actually gain access to more events, so I think From Palasi to Partition would be the best choice. It is a really an amazing book, okay, and it gives you a complete entire idea about all the events that have happened during that particular course of time. Now, apart from all these books that you have studied, it is really very important the material, the study material that we people are going to provide you. The material would be completely focused and it would be elucidated in such a manner that it is not becoming any trouble or any problem for you. So please students, it is really very important that you have to actually refer to the material that is being provided to you by our tutors, by Veranda IAS. Okay. So viewers, this was with today's session. I hope you liked it. Thank you very much.